The celestial gods have created countless universes since ancient times. These absolute formations are called supreme beings. Supreme beings chasing eternal life and enjoying it have constantly created universes. Countless substances, spirits, and laws were created in this process. The supreme beings, growing tired of this infinite loop, found a way to entertain themselves. This way, they could watch the beings they created fight one another. The destruction caused by the beings they created seemed interesting to them. But this meant countless beings dying and being reborn in endless wars. These were things they did just to relieve the boredom of supreme beings. Everything was in place, then something happened. A supreme being observing eternal wars was killed by its own creations. When supreme beings from other dimensions found out, they gathered to examine the world that had lost its master. One of their own kind was slaughtered by their creations. The supreme beings ignored this. They had only one thing on their minds. It's a world without an owner, too. Whoever owned it first would be the master of the world. At a typical-looking high school in Korea, as graduation day neared, some scores were still left unsettled. Get out of here. How can a supremacist like you stoop down to fine arts? Pretty good. I'll need to read more. Aha. I'm finally getting out of this hell. But graduation didn't mean the same thing for everyone. Congratulations, Suho. I didn't know you were this talented. Since when did you start drawing? You again? Sungho. Who says I'm not Sungchul? I'm Lee Unyul. Oh. Is that so? Because of you, my plan to take over this high school is ruined. And remember. You graduated thanks to me. Here they go again. We'll be graduating soon anyway. Why is he acting so childish? Exactly. A child who still managed to survive despite losing his family. Why was he even messing with her? Suho. Just stay out of trouble until you graduate. What was that? That didn't hurt at all. What? Something changed at that moment. 2 years later. Korea was no longer what it used to be. And Suho. He would never forget what happened that day. Sung Suho. A college sophomore. But his story was not ordinary. Classes held in the main building will now be in the annex. Please go there for the lesson. Hunters are currently trying to control the monsters. Everyone please stay back. How long since the hunters entered? It's been about 8 hours. They said the class is a gateway. They'll be out soon. Another portal, huh? 3 years ago, gates began to appear that would change the world forever. The gates were portals to the dungeons. Maybe after some time, the monsters inside were coming out to kill people. People have also changed following the events. Specially gifted people who can use mana, the awakened, have begun to appear. With the world changing so fast, people thought chaos would reign for a while longer. An awakened named Chinchul founded a union of hunters. He gathered the awakened. The hunter improved his profession and quickly put an end to the chaos. Now people are divided into 2 groups, the awakened and the unawakened. But not everyone was after power. Sung Suho preferred his brush over a sword. The world wasn't just full of monsters crawling like bugs. There were also people who could easily win anything from anywhere. In that case, the people crawling like insects should have realized their own limits. And Suho wasn't aware of it yet. His true legacy was just about to awaken. No matter how hard those awakened tried, the gap between them and an E-ranker remained insurmountable. If hunters didn't close the portals, the world would end. In other words, the others couldn't have survived without the awakened ones. But they've woken up, they could live without the others. That's why everyone was grateful to the hunters. But in a world without them, no one could live in peace.
Even so, I could feel that deep sense of loneliness radiating from those who had awakened. I wonder if I've gotten used to something I didn't want. Missing my family, my life depending on others, and those moments where I felt too powerless to do anything. My mom always said I take after my father. I wonder how my father got out of this situation. Suho, coach.
You're working with great focus today. So, what are you drawing?
Whatever comes from my heart?
Is this a bug? It looks quite creative.
It actually looks a bit like a human, doesn't it? Why did I draw something like this?
At that moment, a chilling presence emerged from the darkness.
Hunters are coming.
It looks like they managed to clear the passage. They all looked quite comfortable.
Thank you for your hunter ID. We successfully cleared the dungeon. But there's something we need to report to the Union. We've encountered a new species. Humanoid monsters with blue flames coming out of their eyes and mouths. They were attacking with their claws and teeth. We faced a few challenges during the attack. We couldn't kill them like ordinary monsters. This is the first time we've seen anything like this since the gate appeared. It's a relief there isn't just one species. I'll report this situation to the president.
No one realized it that day. The door to a new disaster was about to open. Something went wrong just now.
The hunter? You. Blue flames.
It just spiraled out of control.
It's the same creature we saw in that dungeon. Ah. It's attacking people. This is impossible. Are people killing each other? What's going on? What is that? There's a blue light in your eyes. It's like they've turned into monsters. Did the dungeon break apart?
What are you doing? Get out of here now.
No. We must wait for the hunters.
Sir, aren't you awake yet? Do something.
I'm just an E-class awakened.
But it was already too late. The monster had chosen its target. Run now. Go. A shadow, a step, and a strike. No one noticed. But at that moment, something changed. The fate of Sung Suho had begun to unfold. Everyone run. My foot stuck. Help me. I'm going to go call the hunters.
I feel like we don't have enough time to wait for the hunters. It's the same as leaving him to die. But what can someone who's not awake like me do? It's not that I haven't awakened. I'm your rank. If I admit my own weakness, I'll lose her. If I back down now, everything will be over. What would my father do if he were in my place? No. No. Stop. Hey. I'm scared, but I'm not stopping. I'll fight instead of running. If my father were in my place, he wouldn't have run. An unknown power is reacting. Warning. System activating. A new destiny begins. He had seen this dream before, but this time everything felt more real. It was a dream, like a game. He defeated stronger monsters on each floor, leveled up, and kept fighting. I leveled up and fought. I had no other choice. The monsters grew stronger with every floor. Overcoming the challenges, he finally reached the top floor. And before him stood the final monster, a creature of incredible power. I don't know why, but this last monster was my father. He saw his father from his memories in his dream. Strong, reliable, but back here, he held power beyond your imagination. But how was it so strong in my dream? The attack started all of a sudden. Moves performed without mana, impossible speed, overwhelming power. What do I do now? I heard you allow attacks without using mana. One night he took him, too. Was this a dream, or a sign of an approaching reality? Time seemed to freeze for a moment. Everyone around him was motionless. But that one could move. Warning: the courage of the weak. Secret mission requirements have been met. Now you're worthy of being an actor. Do you accept? This feels like that dream. If things turn out like in the dream, then there's no reason not to accept. I accept. Suddenly, the room filled with golden light. It felt like the world was being rewritten. Now you're an actor. Congratulations. A status window appeared in front of you. Name Sung Suho. Level 1. HP 100. Mana 10. This is no longer a dream. A new mission has appeared. Education. Defeat the Poo's Scorch and level up. And time began to flow again. D-rank awakened Ashbourne. He opened his eyes. What's going on? Hurry up and escape. If I've truly woken up now, I will win this war. The metal pipe cut through the air. The sound of the impact echoed in the room. Suho narrowly dodged the attack. But the shock of the blow spread through his entire body. Pardon. Suho swung his fist forward. The weather turned bad. The creature leaped into the air. His eyes burned with a purple flame. Suho paused for the first time. This was no ordinary enemy. Warning. You defeated an unawakened Poo's runt. In a single blow? But the creature suddenly stood back up. Dark energy exploded in your veins. Warning. The unawakened Poo's blight is reactivating. The creature lunged forward. Its claws tore through the air. The creature was knocked back. It hit the ground hard. Warning. Level up. You've completed the tutorial. You've earned a reward for completing the task. Confirm? Now I've awakened too. But the creature has completely changed. The D-class awakened Poo's Scorcher has revealed its true power. It withstood my attack? I'll hit even harder then. Creature. The creature pinned Suho to the ground. The ground cracked. The ground cracked. He's out of breath. I'm still not strong enough. I might have just woken up. But I'm still weak. There must be a way. Let's accept the rewards. Mission rewards are ready. Reward 1. Ability point plus 5. Reward 2. Power points plus 3. Power increased from 11 to 14. Suho roared. His fist exploded. But the creature was still standing. I've grown stronger. But I still can't win. In that case, I'll put all my points into strength. Power increased from 14 to 19. Muscles tensed. Energy exploded. His punch tore through the air. The ground shattered. The walls collapsed. I've never heard of awakened ones being able to level up before. But this system is rewriting the rules. I need to get stronger to escape this damn system. Suho lunged forward. His fist buried into the creature's chest. The shockwave spread. The floor shattered. The creature collapsed. It didn't move. You defeated the D-class Haze Scorcher. Leveled up. Leveled up. Leveled up. I won. I'm an awakened now, too. I can do it. Now I'm a hunter, too. I'm going to save people. I'll put an end to this disaster. But then a sound came from outside. Suho looked up. The ceiling shattered. A new shadow has fallen. Warning. C-class awakened Miss Scorched. It's not over yet.
The dungeon at the Korea University of Fine Arts suddenly shattered. As alarm sirens filled the city, soldiers and hunter units were deployed to the scene. But no one knew what had awakened inside. People were dying and the soldiers just had to watch. Because the entity inside was more dangerous than expected. According to the hunter unit's report, a hunter was found turning into a monster. Name, Kim Jun-soo. Position, tank. Class, C, but it was no longer a C-class. This was an awakened scorching mist. Blue flames spilled from his eyes as a crimson aura surrounding his body shook the corridor. And right at that moment, Sung Suho swung down from above. It was launched from the floor below. This wasn't luck. It was a confrontation with death. If a weapon is one face of death, this monster is unlike the others. Could I have one even if I were a level 4 hunter? The monster vanished in an instant. And the next second, he appeared in front of her. The massive sword sliced down through the air. Walls shattered. Windows blew out. The floor collapsed. Suho rolled away at the last second. But he was aware. It was impossible to face such a power. When will the hunters arrive? As long as it lasts until they arrive. The hallway is filled with smoke. The monster lunged forward to attack again. And Suho felt the fear of death for the first time. But he didn't know yet. This war was the first step that would change his fate.
The monster's blows split the ground. Concrete blocks flew into the air. The corridor is starting to collapse. Suho clenched his teeth. His arm bones were trembling. But he didn't back down. Suddenly he lunged forward. His fist drove into the monster's chest. The shockwave spread. The sky was torn apart. The monster faltered for the first time. But Suho was losing his breath. His body had reached its limit. The screen appeared. HP 140. The monster rose again. His eyes grew even darker. The killing instinct was rising. Blood trickled from Suhan's lips. But his eyes hadn't faded yet. I got lucky. It's like the system doesn't want me dead yet. Something stirred deep within his body. An energy like electricity coursed through his veins. The monster leaped to deliver the final blow. The sky turned dark. The shadow fell upon Suho. If this blow lands, it'll all be over. But at that moment, Suho's eyes sparkled. There was no fear, no hesitation. There was only a rising power. And right at that moment, the shadow moved. It felt like something was waking up.
Suho was lying on the ground. She was covered in blood and exhausted. His vision was blurred. His ears were ringing. Just then, a giant shadow fell over him. Is this a bug? This insect was Baru. I'm so late. It's all my fault. Purple energy began to swirl around Suho. So you're the one who dared to injure someone so powerful, the young ruler. Baru attacked suddenly. The claw ripped through the body. Blood sprayed into the air. With the soldiers watching in shock, Baru charged forward with purple lightning. Someone help her. He rescued a student who was attacked by a monster. Baru was nervous as he walked straight over to Suho. It's been a long time. Young ruler.
A child is drawing a picture. Your previous drawings always had black monsters. Ants, orcs. These were the shadow soldiers. Sir, did you draw me? Baru was deeply moved. I'm very honored. And Suho wakes up. When he opens his eyes, he realizes he's in the hospital. What they see is only a dream. He can't make sense of seeing that ant in his dream. What happened, Suho? You're not seriously hurt, are you? It can't be like this in all this chaos. I'll hire guards who woke up for you. I'm fine, uncle. 2 days had passed by the time I opened my eyes. He thought to himself. Then he noticed the news. He turned up the TV volume. The government's response to the accident at Korean National University of Arts, where many were injured. It wasn't a dream that you've woken up. He thought. Then he saw the system window. They remembered being someone who could level up and get stronger. I thought I was injured while fighting this C-class fog crawler. How did I survive? Because Burr took care of those pests for you. It has been a long time since we last spoke, my lord. My lord, how you've grown. I'm so moved. Burr was deeply moved. Suho stood there, frozen in shock. Suho's memories were coming back in pieces. He remembered this ant. His childhood flashed before his eyes again. This ant is one of the black life forms that accompanied me in my childhood. How did I forget this? Why was I living with these black creatures as a kid? There are too many problems. Burr crossed dimensions just to reach you. My lord, as far as I remember, I wasn't this small in school. I've used up a lot of energy traveling through dimensions. Actually, I look more noble and tough. The status window shows he's just an ordinary butler. What? This goddamn system is listing a marshal like me as a servant? Anyway. So I got better thanks to you? I'm quite a talented healer. The real reason I came here was to break your seal, my lord. But you've already broken it yourself. You might think they're just dreams. But they were real, my lord. You're much stronger now than when you fought against me. The great shadow monarch Sung Jinwoo sealed your memories and power in hopes that you could live a normal life. My dad. So, do you have something to do with my father? He didn't leave you. He had to go to space. Simply put, the shadow monarch is fighting invaders in space. Is my dad protecting the world? Yes. From the celestial gods. It protects the world against Iterim. The Iterims sent their men to attack Earth. Baru also had to fight against many enemies. The gates and monsters in the world are caused by these wars. What about my mom? Is my mom with him? Girl, is Ms. Cha Hai missing? Baru was very surprised that Cha Hayan was missing. Since her mother disappeared the same day as her father, Suho always thought they'd be together. Even if Baru thought Iterim's men on Earth had set a trap and kidnapped him, the event remained a mystery. Baru has started to speak. Do you wish to see your family, my lord? There's only one way. Because of the war, your lord father cannot return to the world for a while yet. You must grow stronger to find Lady Kahani. First, let's start by leveling up. The system window opened. You got a mission. You are the son of the great Shadow Monarch. Your genius level talents are currently sealed. Prove you are worthy to use your powers. And a dungeon key appeared. This key allows you to enter the Shadow Dungeon. The key can be used in Sung Suho's shadow. Following Baru's advice, Suho places the key in his shadow and finds himself in the Shadow Dungeon. I still can't believe it. Space, gods, the Shadow Monarch. But no matter what, I want to see my family again. I'll do it, no matter how many levels I need to gain. Baru remembers the past. Space is also before its king. My king. Baru, go to Earth and break Suho's seal. The Iterim's invasion may have reached even Earth. I'll leave the rest to you, depending on the state of the world. You have full authority to do whatever you deem necessary. If it's up to me, Baru will always stay by young master's side to help him grow.
Baru and Suho are in the Shadow Dungeon. Baru says no one can enter without the permission of the dungeon's father, the Shadow Monarch. Suho is trying to figure out why this place feels so familiar. This is more like an abandoned city than a dungeon. But still, it feels quite familiar, Suhoya. Opening system window. The mission, survive, prove yourself. Duration, 4 hours.
Surviving for 4 hours? Don't lower your guard, young master. The exam has begun.
And suddenly, a goblin attacks Suho. Suho reacts to the sudden attack but is still taken aback. The system says goblin gang above the monster. Baru warns Suho that there might be other goblins nearby in the cave. Suho, thinking he must finish this before the others arrive, dashes forward without waiting.
In the system, this monster's name is colorless. So he's either on my level or even weaker than me.
You dropped a goblin stone axe item. You defeated the goblin gang. Suho realized monsters weaker than him had colorless names, meaning those with colored names were stronger. Just then, Suho noticed that other goblins were nearby. Seeing their vast numbers and names written in color, Suho turned toward Baru.
You're going to help me too, right? Of course, I would love to help you, young master. But I'm too far from my king to recover my mana. So I have to use it sparingly. Also, if I join this fight, the experience points you gain will decrease. So you're not going to help. Let's give it a try.
Suho dashed toward the goblins, testing his newly gained skill. This ability was the ruler's authority, allowing him to move objects without physical contact. His father had this talent too. Testing the skill, he attacked the goblins with his axe.
With this new ability, it's like I have an extra invisible hand. Looks like there are archers too.
He suddenly caught the incoming arrow midair. Using the sovereign's power, he drew the bow and fired at the goblin.
The ability to adapt is incredible. In the young monarch's childhood, which resembles a legend of an extraordinary hero's birth, he could freely use the sovereign's authority inherited from our ruler. But that power was created to destroy everything. That's why he wasn't welcome in this peaceful world. But right now, Italy's soldiers are invading the world. The young ruler's power finally comes to light.
You leveled up.
With this talent, I can lift items under 10 kilograms.
Can 160. Suho continued to fight the goblins. Unit 118. No matter how many he killed, it was as if the goblins would never end. Entry 84. Compared to when I had an ordinary life, I've never felt so alive, he thought. Can 53. You've learned level 1 resistance. You leveled up. 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 0 minutes remaining. 0 seconds. Mission accomplished.
Wow, that was incredible. Birun had no doubt that you would pass this exam anyway. Young ruler. You could have helped a little at least.
Notification. The mission reward is here. Would you like to receive the reward?
Yes.
Preparing your reward. Reward, runestone, shadow extraction.
A runestone? If I use this stone, will I have the ability to extract shadows? Ooh, the young master has gained the ability to extract shadows. Besides the leveling system I got when I woke up, I move by instinct while fighting. I'm much stronger compared to when I'm unawakened. As I level up, my wounds heal too. This level system is a renewed version of the one our monarch used. It will be a tool for your development, young ruler. So I guess we could say that while you thought you hadn't awakened yet, you were actually the most powerful necromancer. Anyway, come on, let's get that reward.
Runestone shadow extraction. Break the stone and get the skill. You've acquired the shadow extraction skill. I don't need it. Shadows extracted, 0. Shadows remaining, 3.
So, I can create shadow soldiers? Yes, it's an ability that lets you create soldiers from corpses. This is just how I was made. Shadow extraction is the core ability that allowed your father, Sung Jinwoo, the current Shadow Monarch, to reach his current level. So I'm a necromancer? But I'd have to kill to check the bodies. So I can only control those who are weaker than me? I heard that the summoner class is considered low tier among hunters.
You can extract a shadow from this corpse. Please set a command for shadow removal.
Rise. Rise. The 3 shadow soldiers Suho possesses appeared. Shadow Goblin, level 1, common class. So this is what shadow extraction is like. I was expecting something more impressive. Newly summoned shadow soldiers are usually weaker than they were in life. It also says here they disappeared a day later. Oh no, didn't you have a skill called shadow storage? No, there isn't. Burr thought his intelligence and level weren't high enough to activate the shadow authority. He was disappointed. To comfort Suhoyu. After that, it's a great talent, seriously. It's truly a tremendous talent. I understand, Burr. Don't be sad. By the way, I just realized I haven't eaten anything in 2 days. Burr, how do we get out of here? Using the Shadow Dungeon key at any time, young monarch, do you wish to exit the Shadow Dungeon? Yes, they're out of the dungeon. Suho eats with gusto, wondering how hospital food can taste this good. Meanwhile, Baru analyzed the situation and listed what needed to be done. He started talking to Suho, feeling quite fired up. Young ruler, from this moment on, we have 3 tasks. The first is to protect the world from external monsters. Then I should go into the dungeon and hunt monsters, right? I need to level up. Your level will increase as you hunt monsters, yes? And as you grow stronger, the world will be safe. Second, we must find Ms. Kaghaney, no matter what. Is there any way to know where my mother is? As we hunt more world creatures, we'll eventually find a clue. And in the third task, this is extremely important. To restore my power. I want to show you my true power, young ruler. So, what do I need to get your strength back? I can consume and absorb some of my opponent's magic and wisdom. It hasn't been an effective way since I became a shadow soldier. However, since I can't receive magic power from my ruler right now, I have no other choice. I need to eat something magical somehow. They left the dungeon. To restore Byron's strength and size, they had to enter the dungeons. Suho decided to go to the Hunters Association to get his rank measured. Suho wondered what class he would become as an awakened being who levels up. What if I end up in S class? They thought. The next day, he went to the Hunters Association to get measured. Your magic level is 46. You're an E-rank awakened. I heard that hunters are classified according to their magic levels. The reason your rank is so low is likely because you focused only on increasing your power, young ruler. You don't need to try to comfort me. This is just making me more nervous. Shadow Authority, Class A. And what about mine? Can an E-class person like me really save the world? But you can level up after all, right? Baru was trying to comfort Suho. Suho thought an E-rank hunter wouldn't be chosen to enter a dungeon. Baru remembered there were other ways to enter the dungeons. In squads entering the dungeon, the raid team attacks while the collectors gather mana stones. And these mana stones are actually harvested from the corpses Baru needs. Collectors are usually made up of E-rank hunters. Suho found a group to enter the dungeon as a collector through his professor, an E-rank hunter he's known since college. When they entered the dungeon, they went to the teacher and said, "Thank you so much for bringing me here. I just woke up and don't know many of the hunters. I'm working in the dungeon thanks to you. Hey Suho, I'm sorry about the accident at the university. I was the big shot at school. But I was scared and ran away. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything." Suho says a bit sheepishly, "Please lift your head. You're also an E-rank hunter, just like me. The Hunters Association suggests that E-rank hunters like us run away as soon as we see magic creatures. You just followed instructions, right?" The teacher asked in shock. "Are you in Class E too?" Suho told him he's an E-rank with a level 46 mana. The teacher was even more surprised. His mana level was even lower than his own. But that day, while running away at school, she saw Suho fighting the monsters. An E-class survivor attacking those magical creatures is a huge deal. I agree, the young ruler is extraordinary. Baru appeared out of nowhere. The teacher was shocked when he suddenly showed up and spoke. Suho asked Baru why he appeared. "Young ruler, you are as weak as a larva right now. That's why I'll only be at peace if I'm by your side protecting you. This creature. Did you wake up as a caller? Most E-rank hunters don't have these kinds of abilities. You're lucky. Just so you know, I can run too." "Oh, so that's why he didn't run. You're just that good." It just turned freezing. The teacher was beyond embarrassed. Suho was trying to lighten the mood, saying it was just a joke. Baru was filled with pride. Just as I expected from the young ruler. He completely destroyed him mentally, she thought to herself. Right then, Suho realized it was his first time entering a dungeon other than the Shadow Dungeon. He wondered if the combat team had hunted down all the monsters. The combat team was still hunting their way through the dungeon. But so far, they had only encountered magical wolf monsters. Normally, they'd encounter multiple types in dungeons. Besides, wolf carcasses weren't worth that much money. Sometimes spirits could drop from corpses. But this wasn't working out at all. They needed more monsters to make money. Just then, one of them discovered a side path in the dungeon. They decided to move forward on this new path. Walking along the side path, the hunters found themselves in a ruined room. There were fallen columns and burning torches. One of them said, "Should we go out and call for backup?" Someone else said they didn't detect any magical creatures. But if there's no magical beast, what was this room for? They needed to learn this. Maybe this dungeon had a treasure room instead of a gray monster. They walked toward the middle of the room. Right in the middle of the room, a sword was stuck into the floor. So, was there really a treasure in the room? This sword was a treasure that would fetch a lot of money. The hunters were overjoyed. They had found a priceless treasure without much of a fight. One of them reached for the sword. The others warned that the treasure could be a trap and they must be careful, but he didn't care, claiming to be a C-rank hunter. What is that? This feeling. Relieved to see no traps, one of the hunters approached saying, "You must be more careful next time," when he suddenly swung the sword and sliced the hunter in two. Who would dare take a sidelong glance at the sword of the sharp-toothed monarch?
Kill all invaders in the dungeon of the snaggle-toothed ruler.
The hunters were in terror. In the blink of an eye, he had killed another one. Their own friends were hunting them.
Kill him, kill him.
While all this was happening, the extraction team, unaware of the strike team's plight, watched the shadow soldiers collect the mana crystals. Normally, summoners could only call 1 or 2 monsters at a time. But Suho had 4 soldiers, if we count Buru too. This surprised the other hunters too. Suho was upset that his power was still limited, but he liked having the soldiers work in his place.
Buru, shadow extraction is quite the skill, just like you said. Young ruler, please don't credit me for the little information I've given you. Besides, didn't you enter the dungeon to level up? I heard there were some measurement errors after they started using devices to determine hunter ranks. So I'll ask for a reevaluation once I've improved enough. And by the way, do you remember our third task, Buru? You said eating things containing mana would heal you, right? Even the magical stone fragments around here contain mana. Since you're useless at mining mana stones, eat some rocks from the ground while you wait.
Buru wasn't exactly pleased with this situation. Then, suddenly Buru sensed someone's presence.
Young ruler, I feel the presence of a sovereign here.
Suho, for a moment, in great excitement.
A ruler? Are you talking about your father? No. More precisely, this is someone from the ruling class. If my master were here, my power would be restored immediately. This monstrous scent is probably...
Then, some sounds started to be heard. The sounds were coming from where the strike team was. And magical monsters had appeared where the gathering team was. While many hunters fled, one tried to fend off the wolf monster with a pickaxe. As the wolf bit into the pickaxe and lunged at the hunter, Suho arrived just in time. Suho, hitting the wolf's head with a pickaxe, told the hunter to run. The steel-toothed werewolf text above the monsters was orange. That means they're stronger than me. But it's probably close to the Class D trash I fought in college. So Suho thought he could win on his own. Of course, if I were alone.
You can run too, Hyong.
Suho, you're making sure everyone gets evacuated all by yourself. The teacher said she wouldn't run away this time, saying she wouldn't run away again. Even though he knows he'd be stronger without her. So please help me when I'm in danger, said Suho. Then he ordered 3 goblins to protect Hyong. He opened his inventory and selected a weapon dropped by goblins in the Shadow Dungeon. Hyam was shocked that Suho could even summon a weapon. Suho suddenly lunged forward and began fighting the werewolves. Steel-toothed werewolf, you've won, rise. One of Suho's goblin soldiers disappeared when he turned the werewolf he killed into a shadow soldier. Hyam was shocked by what happened. Watching Suho's battle with admiration, Burr thought, "Oh, the young monarch has already learned how to use his shadow authority in combat." Suho, while fighting, extracting and summoning shadows doesn't cost mana at all.
As my level and shadow capacity grow, I can even create an army.
So he thought, and he defeated one more werewolf. Yuxel, another one of Suho's goblins, has vanished. Hyam was in shock, no longer even sure of what he was witnessing. When Suho defeated another werewolf, the last remaining goblin also vanished in tears. You leveled up. Suho had finally defeated all the werewolves. But Hyang had seen everything that happened. These aren't the kind of traits an E-ranker should have. You've even tamed the corpses of dead monsters. Don't tell me you're one of those fake hunters who hide their rank on purpose, Suho, she blurted out.
I'm seriously Class E.
They tried to brush it off by saying that. Then a notification popped up in the system. Mission briefing, emergency mission, defeat your enemies. There are enemies in the area looking to kill players. Kill them and secure the area. Enemies to defeat, 1. Enemies defeated, 0.
A mission? Is there an enemy to defeat?
While Suho tried to understand the situation, someone appeared from where the monsters came earlier. You're with the Crash team. Thank goodness. Magical beasts have invaded this place. The monster was about to attack the Hyung, who said it could have been a disaster, but Suho pulled him away and saved him. The werewolf's tooth. It's been compromised. What's more, the color of this name. The closer the color gets to red, the higher the danger level.
This is what I learned from the monsters I've faced so far. And right now, I'm facing someone with a red name. It'll be best to escape with Hyung. Mother Barreau, that man isn't a ruler like my father, is he? Even if he had power, he's too weak to be called a ruler. But that doesn't mean you can face him with your current strength. Suho, deciding this was enough information, began selecting suitable equipment for battle from his inventory.
He didn't care even though Barreau tried to object.
I told you the system provides support for my steady growth, Barreau. So the reason he gave me a mission must be that I have the potential to win. More importantly, I need to get stronger as soon as possible to reunite with my parents. That's why I'll beat someone with a red name here and now to get stronger even faster. Now, I'll defeat someone named Red here and get stronger even faster. The young ruler has passed countless trials so far and still hasn't backed down. Despite being weaker than his opponent, his silhouette is like the shadow of a true shadow monarch.
Barreau thought to himself. He was proud of Suho in his current state. Turning into Suhoya, its true form is a sword. If you cut off the monster's arm, it loses its link to the owner and can't even move, he said, giving Suho a tactic. Suho ordered his shadow soldiers to attack after this tactic. He could summon fallen shadow soldiers again using very little mana.
These are the foundations of the shadow soldiers. As long as you have mana, you can keep summoning them forever. What do you think of our new shadow soldiers' power, young monarch?
What about the shadow soldiers? The monster was managing to kill the shadow soldiers over and over again with great ease. Suho, however, was not happy about this. Barreau thought it was because the young monarch's mana was still weak.
How can an insignificant creature like you wield the power of the shadow monarch?
He said, looking at Suho condescendingly. Suho was shocked that the monster could speak.
Kikik, how dare you call the shadow monarch's descendant an insignificant creature?
Barreau challenged.
The shadow monarch's lineage, to think I'd meet you here, enemy of the fanged monarch.
With that, the monster attacked. Using the ruler's authority, Suho released all the weapons from his inventory and launched a counterattack. The monster managed to dodge the incoming weapons without much trouble.
As expected, you easily survived an attack by the one named Red. Then I'll win with brute force. This is the ruler's authority he's used since he was a baby.
Buru thought to himself in admiration. He watched the battle with great excitement. Suho charged forward toward the enemy. But with a single strike, the monster shattered the goblin weapon in Suho's hand. Suho didn't expect the monster to be this strong. But he knew that if he could land a single hit on the monster's arm, the battle would be over. He decided to distract the monster and tire it out. He thought the longer the monster fought, the lower its chances of winning.
Are you going to run like a coward? You're as cowardly as a shadow monarch hiding behind his shadow soldiers.
The monster challenged him, saying,
You shouldn't talk about someone's parents like that.
Suho was furious after the insult to his father. If only I were a little stronger, she thought to herself. Then he thought of Buru. If my limiters were removed, why isn't my power coming back directly? He remembered asking why he had to climb the tower and level up slowly.
Your power was bound when you were just a baby, young ruler. Think of it as slowly regaining the skills you had back then. If you can fully regain your power, you'll be able to fight even against Italim. But this dungeon is neither a dream nor reality. It's just a test to see if you can handle your talent or not. Your experiences in the tower weren't meaningless. They were built to help you remember the fighting spirit and feelings inside you.
Suho, considering Buru's answer, says, I can definitely remember those feelings. In the tower, I mostly fought with my fists. An armored gauntlet would really come in handy right now, he thought to himself. Then he remembered he could heal his shadow soldiers forever, as long as he had mana. Also, Buru could change his shadow form at will. So this meant he could transform the shadow soldiers into gauntlets.
Yuxel, haven't you learned yet that these tricks don't work on me? I'm going to cut right through you.
The attacking monster was shocked by Suho's defense. Suho thought that the steel-toothed werewolf truly lived up to its name. Steel-toothed werewolf shadow level 1, morphological change, armored gauntlet. Shadow extraction has leveled up. With his armored gauntlet, he finally had a weapon the monster couldn't destroy. As long as their mana remained, he could infinitely summon the shadow soldiers, even if they were shattered. Watching the battle in awe and wonder, Buru thinks, no way, he's using the shadow soldiers as weapons.
The great shadow monarch is at a point where the king can use the shadows as he pleases. But the young ruler is only just learning to use his shadow authority. Actually, it's in an ant larva stage. Even so, he discovered the next level of shadow power on his own, without any guidance. The way he's fought so far, his skill in wielding the monarch's power, and even the way he uses the shadows. Buru muttered to himself, young monarch, you are a true miracle.
Suho, feeling much more natural fighting with his fists, continued to attack the monster with a flurry of punches. The monster no longer stood a chance against Suho.
I was worried because he's listed as red in the system, but I never once thought I might not defeat him. I never lost my faith in you, young ruler. Stop lying, Buru. You didn't want me to fight. I also learned a new way to fight during the battle. This is very good. It's time to check the prize I won. Let's see what I've won.
Reward for completing the mission. Do you want to accept? Yes. Mission reward, Runestone. Storm Rift. You have learned the Storm Rift ability. 50 mana required. A swirling wind infused into the blade. You can attack multiple enemies at once. Suho was quite excited about this new ability he had gained. Instinctively, I know how to use this ability, he thought. Now it's time to test. Let's see, I need a weapon. With those words, he reached for the saber-toothed ruler's sword.
How humiliating. I can't believe I lost to a descendant of the Shadow Monarch out of all those people. But it's not over yet. Human greed knows no bounds. Of course, the moment you touch me, I will burn your entire body to ashes. Oh no, what's happening?
Sword failed to capture Suho. You've obtained Raka's molar. Taking the sword in hand, Suho thought this was definitely much better than a goblin weapon.
Is there a person even I, the heir to the power of the great tusked ruler, cannot take over?
Sword was shocked that he couldn't capture Suho. Suho eagerly tested his newly acquired storm/skill. When he swung the sword, he shattered the pillars around him in the dungeon. It's a problem that it drains my mana in a single use. But he thought he liked the amount of power it had to destroy.
The reaction he gave when he obtained the shadow extraction ability was much less. And he seems more than eager for this new talent. Yet the shadow effect is a talent thousands of times more incredible than that.
Burra thought. At that time, the unconscious Hyung woke up. He was shocked to see the arm of the monster-captured hunter being severed. Suho suggested leaving the dungeon, saying it would take too long to explain what happened. After getting Hyung out of the dungeon and ensuring his safety, he went back in to see if there were any other surviving hunters. Watching the hunters who survived outside the dungeon, Hyung-oh is an E-rank awakened with summoner abilities. But he wondered how it could be so strong. Then he realized it didn't matter now, and that all these hunters here were saved thanks to him. Suho continued clearing the remaining monsters in the dungeon. You defeated the steel-toothed werewolf. You leveled up. There were quite a lot of werewolves in the dungeon. And this was a great chance to earn experience points. Suho suddenly noticed his attack power had dropped. Raka's molar. Impact. Don't underestimate the weak. You can inflict the fear condition on a specific target for 1 minute. All stats minus 50%. The impact. A fatal wound. You have a 15% chance to double your critical damage.
Did you think I'd work with a descendant of the Shadow Monarch? An ability that grows even stronger when fighting someone weaker than yourself. What an immoral talent. Immoral? Name me one hunter in the world who hunts anything stronger than itself. The young ruler managed to defeat you. Who was stronger then?
Suho thought to himself, first a talking bug, now a talking sword. It's so confusing, and now they're arguing with each other. They kept moving through the dungeon and reached the room where the hunters found the sword. It looks like everyone is dead, said Baru.
Simply put, I killed every invader who stepped foot here. After all, this place belongs to the molar ruler. After all, what's going on?
Plunging the sword into the room's floor, Suho told the blade to shut up. Then he saw in the system window that he could turn fallen hunters into shadow soldiers. He was surprised. So, can I use shadow extraction on humans too? He asked Baru. Baru is right. As long as there's a corpse, you can turn anyone into your soldier. You want to use it? He asked.
If they're forced to fight even in death, it's nothing but torture. Young monarch, Baru, this was a monarch sanctuary, wasn't it? What was the story with my father killing that ruler? Is that also related to Iterimi? No, that's not about the Iterim. The Iterim is currently my ruler's enemy. Think of the sovereigns as their old enemies. There were 9 rulers in total, along with our lord. So your father is the great Sung Jinwoo, also king of the dead and the shadow monarch. The other rulers, the saber-toothed sovereign, the king of monsters. Ruler of pests, queen of insects. Lord of the frost, king of the snow people. Ruler of the iron body, king of giants. Sovereign of fate, king of demonic beings. Ruler of the white flame, king of demons. Lord of destruction, king of dragons. Each of the 9 kings carried a great power. But when the other 8 monarchs invaded the world, our shadow monarch killed them to protect humanity. That's right. The shadow monarch. My lord, he is the mortal who killed your great tusked monarch. If I were at full strength, I'd tear you apart. I would tear the shadow monarch's descendant to pieces. And then I'd feed you to the wolves.
Did Suho receive the sword's threats?
I understand how you feel. My father fought other monarchs to protect the world. And you were trying to protect this place from the invaders. Both sides made choices to protect what was precious to them. But there's just one detail you're wrong about. And you think you have to fight me because I'm his descendant. If your duty is to protect this place, then wouldn't it be foolish to be hostile toward my father, whom even your ruler couldn't defeat? I want to see my family as soon as possible, whom I haven't seen because of the invaders from space. And to do that, I really need to get stronger. After all, if my source is compromised, this sanctuary I'm trying to protect won't exist either. But if you help me, I'll help you protect this place. He doesn't want me to work with the Shadow Monarch's descendant. Shadow and the Fang, fighting on the same front?
After what happened in the dungeon, Hyung decided to tell the media what he witnessed. If people knew what Suho has actually achieved, they wouldn't treat him like a simple E-rank hunter. After all, Suho had saved his life and the lives of many other hunters. This was how he paid his debt. After what you told me, an article was posted online that night. The article says an E-rank hunter entered the dungeon alone and rescued the hunters inside. After this article, many guilds looking to hire E-rank hunters would go after Suho, who performed these feats, and try to contact him.
The hiring manager of Black Turtle Clover, were you able to get in touch with Sung Suho? Did he respond to our offer? They asked. The manager was surprised when the employee said they rejected the offer. It made no sense for a new E-rank hunter to reject a major guild like them. The employee said Suho hasn't joined any guild. A guildless hunter? Does this kid think he's S-class or something? He'll soon realize how irrational it is not to join a guild. Then he'll be the one calling us.
After returning from the dungeon, I got offers from a lot of guilds. These are people who want to support your talent, young ruler. But they all want to hire me as either a collector or a carrier. Joining a guild will do nothing but hinder my progress in the leveling system. That's why I don't need to join a guild. And why do so many people want to get in touch with me? Suho was still unaware of the article written about him. Then he sat down next to the sword. And turning into a sword. Shall we pick up where our conversation left off, Raka's tooth?
Raka's sword, initially shocked by Suho's proposal and wondering how a kid could think of something so ridiculous, reconsidered and decided it was actually a logical offer. But he had one condition.
You're going to take me to another of the Molar Sovereign's hideouts. Do you know how to get to the other shelter? I can find the Saber-Tooth Sovereign's lair, no matter how far away it is. I can feel that the passage to the shelter is already gone. It's probably what you people call a dungeon break.
So it must have turned into a shelter-type dungeon. Field-type dungeons are areas with abandoned passages where monsters live due to dungeon fractures. The sword could feel the location of the sanctuary. Suho sent a message to his uncle so he wouldn't worry if he couldn't reach him while in the shelter, and then set off. When they reached the shelter's location, they had a problem. The shelter was inside a hunter guild's territory. Suho thought trespassing on private property was illegal. The territory belonged to the Hyena Guild. He'd heard this guild was made up of gangs and bully-type hunters.
It would have been better to level up and get stronger instead of listening to that little creature. What are you doing, young sovereign? We're going in. And what about the Hyena Guild? Everything has a solution.
Then, using the ruler's authority, he smashed the security camera. That way, they could get inside without leaving any evidence.
The way you handle these matters reminds me of my sovereign.
Baru reacted like this. They went inside. Interestingly, the area was covered in fog. Since he had never been in field types or dungeons before, Suho wondered if this was normal.
This mist is a spell from outer space. The dimensionals are breaking the value and creating cracks in the world. Because of this fog, the shelter I was in connected to the world through cracks. Those beings from outer space are tearing huge rifts in our dimension to send their men through. Because the larger their size, the more they're affected by dimensional shifts. So are you saying it'll take some time for the strong ones to get here? Alright then, shall we start leveling up?
There were a lot of monsters around. Briga of the Sharp Claws, Raisin of the Black Shadows. Raka's sword grew excited, saying it was finally time to show its power. But Suho decided not to use it. He finally figured out how to fight. At long and mid-range combat, he would wield the Sovereign's authority. He was going to use the Storm Slash ability against crowds of enemies. With the ability to extract shadows, he would create weapons for himself. So their shadows would become a part of their body. This was his new fighting style. Baru was quite impressed. So the sword. This is the power of the Shadow Monarch's descendant. But the more enemies there are, the longer the war lasts. He thought that at this rate, we would lose the war.
Now that I've increased my intelligence, I can summon 5 shadows. Compared to the millions of soldiers called upon by the great ruler. Be quiet.
After defeating the monsters one by one, they moved through the area and found the passage to the shelter. But there was a problem. Even at this time of night, people were waiting here. They didn't really seem like the usual types. Then a truck arrived. They unloaded people from the truck, blindfolded and hands tied. Suho was in shock. Were they witnessing human trafficking?
Young ruler, we have trespassed here. It might be better if we don't get involved. If it's found that someone has trespassed.
Suho didn't agree. Her father was a crime detective. His grandfather was a legendary firefighter. And 21-year-old Suho grew up listening to stories about them. He lunged forward without thinking, because this family had a habit of taking action whenever they saw an injustice.